Um, uh, yes, it is 11:11. It is 11:11, and we're going live. And I hope that everybody is having a fantastic Saturday. So this is the Things Go Sideways Substack, and I am Kiki L'Italienne. And this is a live video that I wanted to do just for people who first wanted to make a wish at 11:11 Eastern Time and bring a little bit of maybe positivity into their day, but also to share some things that are coming from this project, from the Things Go Sideways newsletter and stuff that's going on. And I thought, it'd be nice to just sort of share with people what is happening. So here we are. First of all, I hope everyone can hear me. I'm actually going to change mics my to my computer mic so that because I'm not sure if that is working completely. And if it wasn't, let me go ahead and repeat myself. I'm Kiki L'Italienne. This is Things Go Sideways live stream on Saturday, March 7th, 2026. And there's a lot that has happened this week. My purpose of doing these live streams, I'm still kind of like getting my sea legs, so to speak, on this platform, but I want to give a little update on the things that are happening behind the scenes, some stuff that's new that you would be seeing, and give everyone a chance to actually become more involved with the Things Go Sideways project. So, Things Go Sideways. If you are watching this, it may be because you're interested in this project already. You saw something about it on social media. It could be that you are already somebody I'm connected to and you're interested in things that I'm working on. But ultimately, no matter who you are, no matter if you've come across this completely by happenstance, the main thing that is important to know about Things Go Sideways is that this is life and things do go sideways sometimes. And sometimes that is the most interesting part of somebody's story is when everything was going along really well. And then somebody came along or something came along, some life event and shook things up. And yeah, things went sideways and life could no longer continue on the same path in the way that it did before. And so I think those are some of the most interesting points in a life. They're also some of the scariest. They're also some of the most concerning. And they're oftentimes the places where we find ourselves asking questions about identity, who we are, who we want to be as we move into the future. And so this project is sort of centered on that. The podcast itself, the interviews that I do, I like to talk to people about their sideways stories and identify times in their lives where things went sideways. They had to make a choice that got them to the next spot in their life that was taking them in a new path. I like to explore the challenges that they faced when they were in their sideways story, the questions that they asked themselves, the way that they came about making their decisions on what would happen next. And then to explore, what are some lessons that they learned through that for not just that sideways story, but for anybody that's going through a sideways moment. um, what are some of the coping mechanisms? What are some of the self care things? What are some of the questions that they ask themselves? I think that a lot of times when we go through these sideways moments of our lives, that is when we have the most massive learning about ourselves and on the things that help us to face these future changes or disruption or uncertainty about how we're going to get from where we are today to where we're going to be tomorrow. So that's that. So How has everything thing been going? Well, I officially launched the podcast on January 23rd. It was a Friday after I got back from Italy, where my husband and I had gone over to, see our daughter who's in high school and bring her back after her semester abroad. And, uh so I released it on a Friday. I guess the first official launch date was on the following Monday. So it's been a little over a month now, because today is March 7th, and we are now, after we went through the end of February, um, we're now officially in the second month of this project. And I have done at this point, I think it was, let me look over here. I think it's something like 22 interviews. No, it is 24 interviews. I've done 24 interviews with people. I've released 5. I've got 2 more that are going to be released over this weekend. And then, the goal is to release a new one each week, but I think I'm going to ramp it up since I have so many that haven't been released yet. And then I have the Substack where I'm posting other types of things I'm learning from these interviews, and they're takeaways, they're lessons, they're resources. I also have a book club that is sort of a holdover from a book club that I'd been running for years, with a previous project. It's now the Things Go Sideways book club. So it's starting with like a base number of people that I've been talking about books with for a long time. And the focus is more on things go sideways topics, which was already kind of interest for us. But our first book was Bend Don't Break, by Matt West, How to Adapt in the New World of Work. And so that was the one that we did for February. And I did an interview with Matt, and he came on and did a Q&A for the book club too. And it was just phenomenal. The next book, the book that we're reading right now, is called Regroup by Barbara Gustafson. And Regroup: How to Reset Your Mind to Unlock Hidden Energy, Enjoy Productive Peace, and to Feel Like Yourself Again. And I had the pleasure of meeting Barbara in person as she was writing this book. And she's done some phenomenal work with Dr. Daniel Amen, and who wrote the foreword for it. But yeah, it's a USA Today featured bestseller already, and she's agreed to also do an interview that we have scheduled this month, and then to do a Q&A with the book club. And so that's Regroup. So if you want to join in and read this book for the month of March, then yeah, that's our book club, Things Go Sideways book club, book of the month. Then we are going to be reading a couple more books. And the next one's going to be The Other Side of Change: Who We Become When Life Makes Other Plans. See the theme here of things going sideways. And then finally, Bill Burnett and Dave Evans, Designing Your Life. And this is how to build a well lived, joyful life. And there is a book and a workbook with this. And I am working on having them come on for a Q&A with the book club. This will be more of an interesting engagement with the book club because it's going to, be a little bit more active. It's like we're going to be workshopping some stuff as we're going through it. But I already know someone. This was a New York Times bestseller. I already know someone who is connecting me to them, and so having them on for a Q&A and an interview is something that is definitely I'm working on right now. Now, Maya Shankar, I don't have any connections to her, but I am going to be trying to have her come on for an interview to talk about her book and also to do a Q&A. So some really great stuff. If you want to join the book club, I will have some more information I put on the Substack. I have 2 paid subscribers. I have many more free subscribers, but I have 2 paying subscribers right now, and I want to thank both of them for supporting my efforts. Especially since, when you start this stuff, there's not like this stockpile of content. So there's more now. There's more coming out. There's a ton of content that I've already created that I've got to continue to push out. But these are people who have, you know, decided to invest in hearing regularly from me and my projects, and I appreciate that. So thank you. Thank you to everyone for your support. And honestly, if you're a free subscriber, thank you for your support for that too, because, you know, other people see how many people are subscribing and it counts. It like impacts their decision on whether they're going to follow, subscribe, uh, and so on. Now, if you're a subscriber, I let you know that this live was going to be happening today at 11:11. 11:11, in case you have been living under a rock, this is the time when you see 11:11 that you're supposed to make a wish, right? And I'm a little bit woo. I love science, but I also love thinking creatively, and I love exploring the spiritual. And, uh, and so this is a little bit of a fun way for me to look forward to a Saturday morning of talking with everyone and giving all of you an update on what's been going on with the project. This may look very different next week when try to give an update on the project and keep it short, but I thought that this would be helpful for this week. So these books that I just shared, this is a great starter list. If you are going through a season of change, or you just like to be prepared for those seasons of change, or you know somebody else who's going through seasons of change of their own and their own sideways stories, each one of these books, it's a little bit different. It has its own nuanced approach, but they would fit into the category of things going sideways and oftentimes speaking to something that's going to help you in inspiration and taking next steps and understanding your mind, or understanding how you can sort of stabilize and orient yourself as you're making decisions and moving forward. And I think that all of us can benefit from thinking about that and learning from it, especially in times like now when there's so much change that's out there that it's impossible to not have sideways moments. Like, you're going to have a lot of them. We're all going to have a lot of them. And they don't always feel comfortable, right? So, how we can adapt, how we can evolve, how we can keep tabs on what's happening around us, and when things do get shaky, make the best decisions possible for us, for ourselves, for where we are individually at that point in our lives. Those are key things that we want to care about and to learn about, and to support ourselves and one another, and so that we can make it through this crazy world. There was one other thing that I wanted to talk about today. I was able to talk about what's going on with the project, a little bit history of the project, about some books that are good for support. I am also, AI has been impacting everyone in every way, for good, for ill. It's here. And the way that we're engaging with it is changing our relationship with AI, and pretty much all aspects of our lives is changing daily. And so, to that point, there are some wonderful things that it allows us to do, and I am really thankful for. But one of the areas in which I feel like we can maybe do some things to balance the world that we're in right now is that so much creative work is seeming to go into this AI hyperdrive. When images look too glossy or they all kind of look the same, they're all kind of generated to look sort of in the same style, and things do not feel as individual or um, to have that human touch. To counterbalance that, I'm finding myself drawn to things that have that unique touch, that uniquely human touch that says, okay, this is something that at least, someone has put their thought into, their creativity into, and it just renders human. And so maybe that's just me. I don't know. And so to that end, one of the things that I loved when I had a project I worked on before called Association Chat is I was able to have the good fortune of creating a magazine that was great in its digital format, but it also was a print magazine. It was so wonderful, and I loved it so much. I loved creating it. It was a lot of work. A lot of different writers contributed to it, but I loved the ability to receive something in the mail that was so beautiful and was, you know, had a human designer's touch, had many different humans behind writing for it, including myself. And so, because I can't produce a magazine right now for everyone, for things go sideways, maybe there's something like that in the future. I don't know. Right now, that's not my priority or focus. But to have that touch, to have that element that is very uniquely human, I am going to be producing it's like a little multimedia card, like a postcard that will have human made artwork on one side and designed by me, and then on the other side we'll have some creative writing. If you want to receive this as part of the Things Go Sideways project, all you have to do is make sure that you're a subscriber on this Substack. And if you're seeing this, you probably are, but you might just be following and you're not a subscriber. All the subscribers will have access to this, but you will have to submit your mailing address. And I have a Google form that I'm using to collect those for now. I'm probably going to move some of that stuff over, to a different platform. I just haven't decided like where I want to keep all of this stuff. But for now, it's going to be, I'm just going to continue to grow the information for subscribers on this Google form. And it's going to ask you several questions. There are like 3 questions just so I understand you and your needs a little bit more. And if you fill that out and it'll have a spot for your mailing address, then I will make sure that you get this first postcard art project, creative writing effort. And then after that, I'll see if how often I can do that. Ideally, I'd be able to do something like that at least quarterly, but then maybe more often. And it'll just be, I'm interested in seeing who's interested in it. And I'll probably end up making that a paid subscriber only feature in the future just to offset the cost of the postage. So that's that. I think that will be kind of fun for people. At least I hope so. And my idea is that the way that I envision it is that if you're following these stories, you're following the summaries I post or the takeaways I post or the questions that I ask about change and uncertainty and resilience in life, then you might also be interested in, the book club or these art projects or these things that remind us that we're not alone. N- We could be isolated inside, and we could be going through, the dark night of the soul and think that we're completely alone in that. And in some ways, can anyone really go through the depths of all of that with you? You're going through it and it can feel very lonely, but you're not alone. And even when you're not directly talking with people, we're all kind of going through our own moments too, and we're going through them together because at any given moment in this world of ours, there is someone else who is going through their own sideways story and having to make decisions that are what happens next in their lives. And oftentimes, they're going to be decisions where they're kind of difficult and they are, you know, um, making us make decisions, finding us making decisions in different types of ways, probably making decisions that we never anticipated having to make. And isn't it a little bit helpful, at least, to know that at least that's just a natural part of life that we're all going to go through? And someone else has probably had to, make that same type of decision. It is a relief to me to think about this and to think about how we can get better at understanding ourselves and our values and um, getting grounded in the truth of what we know about ourselves and who we are. And also allowing for the fact that even that can change, like the core of who we are can also evolve. So having that curiosity, exploring themes about curiosity and about learning about ourselves and about learning about others and being curious about the world around us and how to navigate change. These are things that are always going to help us to improve and, better our experience as we're going through life so that we can discern that meaning, we can make better decisions, hopefully, and we can remind ourselves that we're connected. We're all connected. So that's a lot of philosophy for me to share. Um, will anyone actually ever see this? I do not know. Right now, I have exactly 0 viewers, but it's been fun sharing. And I'm glad to share my Saturday morning with you on this Saturday, March 7th, 2026. It is now 11:34 a.m. Eastern Time. And some cool things. Tomorrow is daylight savings. This is the time when you're going to see a number of people question why we still have daylight savings in the first place. Because this is the spring forward one. This is the one where, we lose an hour. And so a lot of us are kind of off a little bit for a few weeks. And it's a little bit easier when we fall back in the autumn and we are able to sleep in for an hour, but no, not this Sunday. So with that, I wish all of you well. Thank you for your support and your attention and for everything here on the Things Go Sideways Substack. You know, I've been on a number of different platforms for previous projects in the past, and I'm not I'm not foolish enough to think that this is the one that's going to be the home for forever. But I do like some of the tools here. I know that Substack itself has a little bit of controversy about, the business decisions behind the scenes, and there are questions about, what the future of it will be, and so on. So I'm not going to say I'm committed to Substack exclusively right now. But what I will say is, for now, other than the website that, is sort of there's a page devoted to Things Go Sideways, the Things Go Sideways project on on amplifygrowthmedia.com. If you go to thingsgosideways.com, it'll redirect to that page. But, this is kind of a good home for things like this, for the live video, for the ability to, you know, uh, bring subscribers together, to pass digital notes and emails to you on a regular basis, and to give you access to the audio and different content that is produced through this project. If you're interested in any of the things that I mentioned today, for instance, if you want to become a part of the book club, if you are seeking more information about receiving these, mailed goodies and that kind of thing, you want to become a paid subscriber. There's more information already here on Substack for how to do that. Um, Always feel free to send me a message through Substack or any of the contact information that you find for me online. Reach out to me through LinkedIn. And if you're looking for a speaker or someone to talk about trust, change, and uncertainty, I do have a signature talk that's about things going sideways, go figure. And I think that, it's this is stuff that I like to do and I like to talk about. I certainly have collected quite a few stories from my own life, but from other people's lives too. And love to talk about that. So if you are looking for somebody who is going to speak to your group, feel free to reach out to me about that too. All right, friends, thank you. Have a fantastic rest of your weekend. And if you did stay to listen to all of this, well, I commend you, and I will try to keep it shorter on future live streams. So, thanks to all of you. Be well, and talk to you again soon.